The studio was electric. The audience buzzed with anticipation as the floor manager gave the countdown. We're live in 3, 2, 1. The theme music faded, the applause swelled, and Megyn Kelly turned toward the camera with her signature polished smile. Welcome back to Megyn Kelly Today. My guest this morning is a global superstar, singer, actress, business mogul, and cultural icon. Please welcome, Jennifer Lopez. The applause intensified as Jennifer walked on stage in a tailored cream blazer, flowing wide-leg trousers, and heels that clicked sharply with each confident step. Her signature ponytail swung gracefully behind her as she approached Megyn with a poised smile and exchanged a quick, chilly hug. At first, things seemed smooth. They exchanged pleasantries, talked about Jennifer's upcoming film, her Vegas residency, her new music project. But beneath the surface, something was off. Megyn's tone, usually clipped and calculated, had a sharpness to it. And Jennifer's expressions, though poised, were increasingly guarded. Then came the pivot. So Jennifer, Megyn began, flipping through her note cards, you've reinvented yourself more times than I can count. You're an actress, a singer, a dancer, an entrepreneur. Some say it's inspiring, others say, it's a little desperate. That it's about staying relevant in a world that forgets women over 40. How do you respond to that? A flicker crossed Jennifer's face, surprise, maybe irritation, but it vanished just as fast. I'd say I'm doing what I love and building what matters, she replied with a tight smile. That's never desperate. That's survival. That's purpose. The audience clapped, but Megyn pressed on. And the skincare line, the cocktails, the clothing collabs, some critics have called them, well, just cash grabs. Do you think that's fair? Jennifer leaned back slightly, her eyes locked on Megyn now. You know what I think's unfair? That when a man diversifies, he's called a visionary. But when a woman does it, she's accused of selling out. The audience gave a small cheer, sensing the tension now simmering between them. Megyn smirked, unbothered. Well, some of your fans have said the prices of your products don't match your message of empowerment. When a serum costs $300, is that empowering for the single mom in New Jersey? Jennifer exhaled slowly, her voice calm but firm. You know, I come from a single mom. I've been that girl with no money, growing up in a small apartment in the Bronx. I don't need a lecture about authenticity. The air thickened. Cameras zoomed in. The control room was dead silent. I'm not lecturing, Megyn said coolly. I'm just saying that when celebrities build brands, especially ones with their name on it, they should be ready for the real questions. Jennifer's expression hardened. Then ask a real question. Not one designed to tear me down. Megyn hesitated, her smile faltering for the first time. She glanced at her producers behind the camera. This wasn't going the way they'd planned. You want real, Jennifer continued, leaning forward slightly. Here's real. I've worked every day of my life since I was a teenager. I've dealt with this industry when it embraced me and when it tried to erase me. And I've never taken shortcuts. Not once. So don't confuse being smart and ambitious with being fake. The audience erupted in applause, but it was no longer the light, daytime clapping the show was used to. It was loud, divided. A few people cheered, others looked stunned. Megyn sat frozen for a beat before collecting herself. Okay, well, passionate as ever, I see. Jennifer gave a dry laugh. Passion built everything I have. And maybe if this interview were more about that, we'd be having a better conversation. Megyn shifted in her seat, clearly trying to steer the ship back, but it was too late. The tension had broken the surface. Jennifer wasn't playing along, and the audience knew it. And what happened next would leave even the show's producers speechless. The moment the show cut to commercial, the studio floor exploded into chaos. Producers rushed toward Megyn's desk, whispering frantically into her earpiece. Jennifer stood, unbothered, her posture straight, her face expressionless as she reached for her water bottle and took a slow sip. Her calm only made the situation more surreal, like a storm had passed, but the thunder still echoed in everyone's ears. Megyn glanced up at her guest, struggling to maintain composure. Jennifer, we're coming back in 60. We can reset. Let's just. I'm done, Jennifer said simply, already removing her mic. Megyn's eyes widened. Wait. No. Don't walk off. Not now. This isn't how we do things here. Jennifer looked at her coldly. Well, maybe that's the problem. The entire crew watched in frozen silence as Jennifer stepped down from the platform and walked off stage, heels clicking like a metronome of defiance. A few audience members clapped awkwardly, unsure if it was a joke, a stunt, or something very real unraveling before their eyes. Backstage, Jennifer's publicist met her with wide eyes and a furrowed brow. "Are you okay? What the hell was that?" "She came for me," Jennifer replied, buttoning her blazer. "I'm not here to play nice when someone's trying to humiliate me on live TV. I came here to talk about my work, not to be interrogated like a defendant." "Megyn's people are already trying to spin it," her assistant said, phone in hand. "They're calling it a spirited exchange." "Let them," Jennifer said. "They just gave me the best PR moment of the year." Meanwhile, back on the set, Megyn was fuming. The cameras returned from commercial to an empty guest chair. She turned to the audience with a forced smile. "Well, folks, that was unexpected. Jennifer Lopez has left the building, quite literally. We'll be shifting gears now, because the news never stops." But the real story had already escaped the studio. Within minutes, the internet lit up. Hashtag J.Lo vs Megyn. Hashtag Jennifer walks out. Jennifer Lopez storms off Megyn Kelly's show, TMZ. Megyn's interview style, bullying in disguise, says insider, BuzzFeed. Clips of the exchange circulated like wildfire. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, every social media platform was flooded with comments and reactions. Some praised Jennifer's confidence and refusal to be disrespected. Others accused her of overreacting. But one thing was certain: the entire country was talking about it. Later that afternoon, Jennifer posted a brief message on her Instagram stories. "Greater than, I stand by every word I said today. Women have the right to be strong, direct, and unapologetically successful. Period." The post garnered millions of likes in under an hour. Behind closed doors at NBC, executives were scrambling. Sponsors were calling. Segments were being reviewed. The network's PR team debated whether to release a statement or let the moment pass. Megyn, meanwhile, sat alone in her dressing room, staring at the headlines. She scrolled through the comments, some defending her, most condemning her tone. She had hoped the interview would be hard-hitting, a journalistic win. Instead, it was a public relations nightmare. In the days that followed, Jennifer's film pre-orders spiked. Her album shot up on streaming platforms. Even her skincare line saw a 40% boost in sales. The very platform that tried to break her had only made her stronger. As for Megyn, her next episode opened with a forced joke and no mention of Jennifer. But the audience could feel it. Something had shifted. Two powerful women had collided on live television, and only one of them walked away stronger. Jennifer didn't just walk off that set, she walked out owning the moment. 3 days later, the media storm had only intensified. Every major outlet, from CNN to Entertainment Tonight, was dissecting the now infamous confrontation between Jennifer Lopez and Megyn Kelly. Pundits debated whether Megyn had crossed a line or if Jennifer had overreacted. But one fact was undeniable: the interview had become a cultural flashpoint. Jennifer, however, wasn't interested in watching the fallout. She had moved on, at least publicly. But privately, the moment had stirred something in her. She was no stranger to scrutiny. She'd been underestimated, sexualized, and misquoted for decades. But this time had felt different. It wasn't just an attack on her career, it was an attempt to chip away at her identity, her right to evolve, to lead, to be loud and luminous in a world that still asked women to shrink. And yet, the backlash toward Megyn had been swift. In a surprise twist, several female celebrities began to post their own uncomfortable experiences on daytime shows, interviews where they'd been undermined or cornered by questions disguised as criticism. The hashtag not just J.Lo began trending globally. Kerry Washington posted, "Greater than, watching that interview hit a nerve. We've all sat in those chairs, smiling through gritted teeth. Respect to it J.Lo for walking out." Loudly. Even Taylor Swift shared a cryptic TikTok clip of Jennifer's walkout with the caption, "Boundaries are beautiful." Meanwhile, inside NBC headquarters, the network's crisis response team was under siege. Advertisers had begun to pull spots from Megyn Kelly today, citing tone concerns. Megyn's past controversies were resurfacing: her racially charged comments, her tense interviews, her infamous on-air feuds. The Jennifer Lopez incident had reopened old wounds the network had tried to bury. During a tense closed-door meeting, a senior NBC executive reportedly asked, "Is Megyn worth the trouble anymore?" 2 days later, the network issued a carefully worded statement. "Greater than, we value strong, authentic conversations on our platform. While we regret how the recent interview unfolded, we also recognize the importance of every guest feeling respected and heard. The internet translated that as damage control. Back in Los Angeles, Jennifer was preparing for a charity gala where she would receive a humanitarian award for her work with underprivileged girls. Reporters swarmed the red carpet, eager to ask about the showdown. But Jennifer, radiant in an ivory satin gown, simply smiled. "I'm here to talk about education and empowerment tonight. Everything else is already clear." Still, the impact was undeniable. A week after the incident, Jennifer was invited to sit down with Oprah Winfrey for a full-hour special on OWN. No interruptions, no shade, just two powerful women having an honest conversation. "I felt like I had to reclaim my space," Jennifer said during the interview. "We tell women to speak up, but then we criticize them for being too emotional, or too strong, when they do. I'm done shrinking to fit someone else's format." The episode shattered ratings records for Oprah's network. As for Megyn, things were unraveling fast. A leaked memo revealed that NBC was evaluating new directions for the show. Internally, staffers whispered that Megyn had burned one bridge too many. On Friday morning, just 10 days after the Jennifer Lopez fallout, Megyn walked into her studio to find it eerily quiet. The teleprompter was blank, her showrunner wouldn't meet her eyes. An executive pulled her aside and said, simply, "We're going dark today." That afternoon, NBC announced the indefinite suspension of Megyn Kelly today. No one clapped. No tributes aired. No farewell montage played. The studio lights dimmed, and that was that. Jennifer, meanwhile, posted one final message to her 300 million followers.